Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS Winter Americas. We're moving into the lower bracket match here in Group F. My name is Fear Dragon, and once again, I'm going to be joined by Zombie Grub as we move into a Protoss versus Zerg. We brought on our Terran expert. What's up?
I'm an expert at everything.
That's true. And I also could have said the exact same thing about Nate.
Yeah.
As a Terran expert.
Yeah.
He's a battlecruiser expert. He hasn't played Terran.
Can you believe there's still people out there that are like, I thought she played Zerg? With all the heavy Terran balance whining that I do.
You're not Zerg girl? For those who don't know, by the way, Zombie Grub used to play Zerg way back in the day.
At this point in time, it's not even worth mentioning.
It's,
you know, like,
it's 2013 or something?
No, it wasn't. It was like in 2013 it was worth mentioning. But I played Zerg for about not even a year, as far back as I can remember, in 2011. Because I stopped pre-Broodlord Infestor, which is a terrible time to stop. I stopped the Terran.
Yeah, you kind of missed out. It was a great time.
I mean, it was a great time for Zerg. Yes, you were correct.
Yeah, and also Immortal Sentry every game. That was great.
That's true. That was the period of Ohana.
I did enjoy that.
Ohana means family.
Family means?
Immortal Sentry.
Immortal Sentry all in. Okay, guys. We're moving into our next series, though. MeomaikA versus Astrea. Already talked a ton about these guys. I do think that this is the matchup that MeomaikA can get a little bit weirder in. ZVZ is one of those matchups where you can try and get a bit weird, but you're always going to have to react to the next like 30 to 45 seconds a bit to what your opponent's doing.
Can you, like I'm not going to rub your face in the whole like MeomaikA didn't do anything weird thing, but I kind of want to.
He took a weird third
can you
on the second map.
Can you like think of like the last weird build he did? Just give like a frame of reference for Zerg weirdness.
Let's see. It's been a few months since I've actually seen him, but I want to say I've seen him do some of the drone pulls, which isn't actually as weird now, but like the drone pull, like try and just link flood with most of his drones pulled and kill the pile. No, in ZVP.
Oh, in ZVP. Oh, okay.
So you make 6 to 8 lings, and then you pull all but 2 or 3 drones. You go across the map with your drones and your lings, and you try and kill the pylon and just kill them before they actually get up any zealots or more than one zealot. So stuff like that.
It's I don't know if it's memey, you know. Like when you compared to Mahas, I was like, oh boy, it's gonna be like.
I will admit, it's been a little bit since I've seen him, and I'm not saying that as I think he's changed, because from what I hear, he's still a pretty big memer, but he's done some pretty weird stuff.
It's just like it's not even like you being wrong. I have a hard time like feeling like Zerg can be the race that can come. Like Haas just abuses Protoss, you know. And I'm not sure I've seen.
You just have to stretch your imagination, Jess. You just have to stretch your imagination out and think about the possibilities of what could be done.
Even when people are like, "Oh, Scarlet's memeing" or whatever, when she does like proxy hatches and stuff, those were periods of time where it was like a legitimate thing to do.
That was a normal-ish thing to do. We'll see. Astrea, I do think, has a pretty scary-looking PvZ. He's got a good... I think this is one of the characteristics of strong Protoss players in PvZ, is when they have a strong variety of different builds that they can throw at their opponents. So while you can rely on the standard and stuff, we kind of saw a bit of this in the PvT that Astrea did. He has his own little takes on like, oh, this is a build that would do well in the current meta, or versus what I think you're going to be doing. And Astrea's great at coming up with those.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping to see some weirder stuff and to see Astrea.
Me too.
You know, actually, I mean, he did a great job reading Masa in that game #1 of the first series, but we're in a brand new matchup here on Kairos Junction. In the bottom right is the red Protoss. He is Astrea.
Goes by the name Max Angel, which makes him the only player with a cooler actual name than his gamer tag. Starting up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Zerg player. He is MeomaikA.
It's kind of weird that he didn't just go with his name. Like
Max Angel?
I mean, yeah, if someone had a name like that online, I'd be like, well, that's clearly not a real name.
Yeah.
That's just a cool name you thought of at the time. So, but
it is straight out of an action flick.
He chose Astrea, which I mean, maybe
it's a cool name, but
it's like a cool sci-fi name, sure, but I'm not sure unless he got it from somewhere. It's just, you know, is it comparable to Max Angel? I don't know.
Max Angel is quite the amazing name. So far, we do just have hatch first from MeomaikA. He's doing his best to try and delay this. He may have actually been trying to go for a proxy hatch over there with how many minerals he had built up, but ends up just making a couple of drones.
Maybe, oh, splat. Maybe MeomaikA is just like, he should have been a Protoss. He just like, he got his hatchery down, but then he delayed the Protoss's base. And you're like, he's trying, like, he's like Mimi and stuff, and it's like, maybe he's just, maybe he's the wrong race.
Did he just, I think he just took his third hatch either a few seconds, it was maybe only a few seconds, of like a few seconds before his spawning pool, so it was like kind of technically a 3 hatch before pool.
That is, yeah, that is how that works, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if the Adept, I mean, assuming that Astrea even goes for an Adept, but he didn't even wall off on the low ground, so it'll be coming from the high ground. So see if he can actually go across the map and do damage. There's that weird occurrence where, like, you know, 2 Adepts suddenly get a bit done. If they're going for 3 hatch really fast, then maybe they're also going to try and skip the Lings and play a little too greedy. But this Overlord's it's gonna be a little maybe freaked out seeing, you know, not an obvious scout at the front, but it's gonna get in the main and see the Adept timing.
Yeah, Astrea going for not the gateway wall off at the front like you were talking about, which is a little bit odd or a little bit more unusual these days. Here's going to be Zergling speed research. We're sticking in with drones and gas, it looks like, as the gas count for MeomaikA is still raising on up. And we'll see how he handles the first Adept with just 4 Lings on their way out, as well as a couple of those Queens.
He's going to have to cancel, building cancel rather. 1 more unit. Okay, that was close. Where did the Adept go? To third base. This is also something you have to be like really careful about. It's not having too many units right at the third base. It's so fast. In fact, a lot of the time, even like against a Stargate opener, we'd see like no drones at the third, so they don't have to worry about defending it.
He's not canceling those spores.
That's a very good point.
That's 1 spore finished, and he actually the fact that he immediately lifted it up makes me feel like it was intentional. You know what? Actually, I look at the timer and I'm like, you know what? This is the time where in about 15 or so, 10, 15 seconds, an Oracle would pop in. If this were a normal build, or sorry, a really quick, super fast Stargate before Warp Gate.
Yeah, and he is just like, a point about the third base being potentially open. He's essentially just rallying all those drones over. It was natural. Because he did not know what the attack was, but the timing for Stargate is running out. He saw Lucid Phoenix, that wasn't a real one. We have a Roach Warren coming down. Very safe time. Astrea going for this Robo opener. I mean, I keep saying, like, I can imagine this guy, casting this guy like years and years ago, and there was time where Robo openers were especially popular. They died off for a little while unless you were on a map like Arena was a map where they came back, right? And now they've done it again. They're, Immortal Sentry, you kind of position around. I've seen some macro games from them where they just kind of like, oh, I'm scary, forward. I'm Protoss, and then they take a third base. And there's also legitimately still Immortal Sentry all lanes that you can try and kill the Zerg with.
Yep, Astrea is a big lover of these kind of gateway pushes with the Immortals. Actually adding on 2 more gateways, going up to a total of 5 alongside that Immortal. See if he's going to add on any more, and there it is.
All right.
Another. There's another. I think at most you get 1 more, because that's already going to be 7, and that's 8. All right, so this is straight up 2 base all in right here from Astrea. MeomaikA is already producing Lings and getting up his lair alongside that Roach Warren on just 44 workers, so this is a decent spot to cut workers and just flood units to try and deal with this kind of attack.
That Ling sees the Warp Prism, which is really, really quite nice, but it's actually just the start of an attack. Like, he's going to do some harassment.
Whoa, MeomaikA's moving across the map with his roaches. I actually don't think MeomaikA was making these units at 44 workers to defend. I think he was making them to all in.
But he also got a lair, which is why I was uncertain about that. Like, the lair, I mean, he was still in the dark about what the build was. We had a little bit of worry about the Archon drop with DTs. DTs first, so he has an Overseer access. But we didn't have Roach speed. No, I didn't miss that. But there are a lot of Roaches and Lings. They did turn into Summoner Ravagers. But the attack is happening while his army was moving across the map, so he's forced to come home.
That is a lot of sentries and a nice couple of set of choke points. The Lings get in on top of these Zealots. The Ravagers come in from behind because they were trying to attack. And they do actually set off both of the Immortals' Hardened Shields.
Yeah, this one also got its Hardened shield set up on the backside, but there's a... Well, actually, the force fields were used to try and stop the flood of Lings. They missed it, so the Lings get full surrounds. A lot of these vulnerable units, one sentry lives, but the Immortals, most importantly, live, even though it's just barely, and that is it.
GG. Astrea takes the first game. And I do want to bring it back to the layer that you were talking about, because, yeah, we didn't actually see any use from that. I do wonder, it could have maybe been the Dark Shrine or something. I'm not sure if he was hoping that it would also be like a bait and switch kind of move where you scout out the layer and you're like, okay, this is, I still have an extra minute or something while you finish up roach speed, or maybe this is going to be a Nidus Swarm play or something, but then the units walk across the map. We didn't really get to see what MeomaikA had planned, I guess.
That's a decent point. I feel like I've seen that before. And you're saying that MeomaikA does some weird things.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Haas weird.
I will look for the narrative that confirms my suspicions.
No, but I'll do it for you. It's not like Haas weird, right? Where it's like in your face, but it is like a little like, well, no one, would really. It's not like a thing you do all the time.
Who would do that? Yeah.
Okay, like I get it. So that's certainly possible. But it's definitely was a situation where if he had been just defensive, he had known that was the type of attack to happen. Like that specific attack too, he got really great scouting. Then he was in a position to have everything, paired up well for it. His Ravagers would have been on the right side of the attack, breaking force fields when necessary, as opposed to kind of looking weird and derpy behind everything else. And we saw it got kind of close with the Link in this round. So that was totally a situation where that could have worked in his favor.
Yeah, absolutely. If some of the force fields had whiffed on the first set, or he wasn't able to deal with the Ravagers quite as quickly, then this absolutely could have gone maybe a little bit better for MeomaikA if any of those Immortals had ended up dying. But we end up moving into game number 2. Map is going to be King's Cove. Bit of a funny map when it comes to walling off as a Protoss player, which we'll see if that has any effect on this game, depending on what these guys decide to go for.
On the top left, getting that first game, it is the blue Protoss Astrea.
Axe Angel. If you could change your name, what would you change your name to?
I don't really like Jessica that much, but my last name's kind of cool.
Chernega?
Yeah, maybe I'd make it a T, though, because every time I say that, it happened earlier today, too. I, said Chernega, and I saw that guy go down to the T's, and I'm like, how? People, and they do it all the time. You look at me like that's a weird thing. I say Chernega, and people are like, oh, so a T. And I'm like, where? That is clearly a CH. You know what? You know what? This awoke something in me, all right? Like, you see the interest.
She'll be going for another couple of minutes if we don't do this, guys. Starting down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the red Zerg player. He is MeomaikA, going for pull first.
What would you change your name to?
I used to be super obsessed with a show called Trigun, so I would have said Vash, but that was 13-year-old me. I think what? Wow. Okay. I'm not even gonna answer you anymore. I'm actually just upset. Now I'm triggered.
Really?
No, I'm not actually.
Shouldn't be.
I always thought Tanis was a really cool name.
Tanis?
Tanis.
Where is that from?
It's from a book series called Dragonlance.
That lines up, yep. I would have gone with something like, I really like unisex names. So, like I have all these names for, kids I might have. But, Charlotte is a really cool name when the nickname's Charlie. I really like that. I probably would have chosen that if I could. But while you can technically choose your name, I could go and get, a name change.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, I'm going to build up a StarCraft 2 career over 9 years. And everyone's going to refer to me as Zombie Grub. That worked out as well, too.
Yeah, I'll just change my last name to Man, and then I'll name my kid Super, Bat, Aqua. If I have a girl, then she'll be named as Wonderwoe.
Wait, hold on. If you change your last name to Man, you'd be Rovy Man. You'd be like Running Man, Rovy Man. That's a...
Yeah, and then I'd have Batman as my son. My daughter would be called Wonderwoe. I've thought about this one. By the way, guys, actually talking about this game, so the Lings got scouted by the probe scout. They didn't actually make their way across the map. Astrea was able to chrono boost out a handful of units, and the Lings just, honestly, this opening has just not been all that effective so far for MeomaikA. Going for a pull first in this matchup, you really do cut your economy a bit to try and get something.
Yeah. To be fair, we should have talked a little bit more about that. But it's.
I was waiting for the Lings to get across the map, but then they never actually got across the map.
It's one of those things. I saw it, and I saw Astrea scouting, and I was like, well, MeomaikA's not going to do anything super committed with this. So this is this is going to hurt him a little bit, but it's ultimately going to turn into a normalish mid-game PvZ where we have, I mean, this is kind of weird, right? But since MeomaikA perhaps showing later speed in last game, I don't actually remember the speed timing exactly, the Stalker actually goes across the map and does harassment. That's so Ohana, actually. This map is the closest thing we got, man.
Mortal Sentry All-In. Except we have a Twilight Council coming down this game. So it's not going to be an Immortal Sentry All-In. That's just an old meme. Ling Speed finishes up and is going to be able to catch this Stalker, and with some good micro, he is able to actually truly almost catch the Stalker. Oh my god, the Force Field even used. The Sentry blocks off the Lings. That is some value right there.
That's so great because now
the Lings went back in. They were like, oh, we want more.
They're still, I mean, the Sentry shoots air too, but now there's a Stalker to help deny Overlord vision.
Oh, that is really nice. And remember, he did supply block MeomaikA for a second.
Yeah.
MeomaikA has a lot of Overlords just finished up, though, so he's got plenty of supply to make work. And a Rotorn on the way. Just 40 workers so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same timing as last game, but we'll see if he pops from those eggs, basically, and if he goes for that lair again. Astrea is going to go for the Warp Prism in charge. And how many gateways? He's still got all of his gas in the main taken, but is he really taking these? He might just be doing that. Extension of that.
Yeah.
He's still building workers.
4-gate, Charge Lod, Warp Prism, Harassment with no Templar Archives. Yeah, that'll be kind of interesting.
I feel like Harsum did this, and he just used them to harass, and then eventually went into Immortals and a decent macro game. So, yeah, see if those saturated.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, these Zealots can still be like that kind of not super committed aggression, because you can get up your Templar Archives and stuff, as I actually see Templar Archives being thrown down now, and you're really only investing, I mean, even the Warp Prism, it's all a pure mineral investment, so you can still bank all of your gas into your tech, and if you lose some of the Zealots, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
MeomaikA is quite in the dark. I mean, I like the Overlord spread, which is something we don't usually see, despite not being a lot of things that shoot air, but if it was an Archon drop, those do, for instance.
That's a lot of Zealots.
But yeah, as far as the actual composition, he was certainly in the dark, and this is a bit of a surprise. Probably initial panic sets in, right? It's like, oh no, there's going to be like 8 charge lots warping in, and then you realize, no, hold on, it's only 4 at a time, or not even any more warp-ins, just harassment. Yeah,
MeomaikA even still taking a bit of damage, losing a Queen, losing a couple of these workers, and these 4 Zealots can still just be picked up. He keeps 4 of them alive and can just re-drop out. He's trying to do drop micro with a melee unit. That's actually, I don't think I've seen that very often.
MeomaikA missing out on some things. I think this is really the lack of scouting, being very just in the dark as far as the game is gone. Now, the initial panic of a charge it all in. Now it's harassment. Now it's all his armies back home.
This is becoming a charge it all in.
Yeah, I guess. But everything combined together means that MeomaikA, I mean, I think he was going to all in. And then this kept him back because he hasn't gone for a lair, and it's 6.5 minutes. Okay, well, then he starts one, so that's later than usual, for sure. And he still has these Ravagers.
I think I'm with you, though, that he was looking to do the attack, and then he finally holds off all the stuff and says, okay, so I guess you're not actually coming.
Right.
So then he starts morphing in the lair, but then he's going to make his way across the map with the Ravagers and then see a bunch of units being warped in, and then he's going to realize, oh, actually, wait, no, hold on. You are coming. You're just coming a bit later, and he's been sitting here on a lower worker count for a lot longer than he normally would have liked to be.
Yeah, it's a very weird pacing of a game here. And
I think that's what Astrea was going for, though. Yeah. You force out a lot of units. Like you said, you see 8 Zealots. It makes it look like it was an 8 Zealot warp-in from the Warp Prism, and it was a big charge slot all in.
There's been 2 Warp Prisms for a while here. 9 workers, Queens. Multiple Queens have gone down. At least
a lot of drones. This is all in.
This is all in.
Straight up all in.
Oh, but the Lings again.
Whoa.
Nice.
Warp Prism would have been useful back over here to help save these Immortals. The Immortals are finally clear from the back, so they can actually run away if they need to. The Lings have mostly been taken care of. The Lings trying to get into the natural. The Zealots hold the line, though, even with one of these Immortals going down. It looks like it's just a handful of Ravagers with the range attack. Everything else is just a melee and that shield battery holding the line for those Zealots.
I don't know, it's like the choke worked out for the Ravagers, I suppose, that aren't being attacked.
By the way, the hatchery died on the other side of the map, the 3rd base, and the 4th base hatchery is getting worked away by a single Adept.
And no Warp Prisms come home? Okay, that one was recalled home to help Micro as well as carrying some Storms. That helps.
GG, Astrea takes the 2-0. And keeps his hopes alive. Moving on to that decider match with a really cute build there that really messed with MeomaikA's head.
Yeah, well, I think that messed with our heads too. That was weird. But if it was the whole idea of like, I think it is the idea like I'll scare them into thinking that's maybe an
8-gate Zealot all-in, yeah.
And then they'll be thrown off tempo, and that's a lot of times until you get to like the tippity little Zergs over there, like Sarah and whatnot, they do make wrong decisions based off that incomplete information, and then suddenly it just snowballs from there, which makes their all-ins look very awkward. And well, that one almost worked because it got the surround, but imagine if that surround didn't happen. It probably looks really silly.
But of course, congratulations, Astrea. And MeomaikA, we will hopefully see more of him. He's playing in the Sea region, so keep an eye on all those Sea events if you guys are interested in seeing maybe some more of his memes. I know we didn't get to see too many of them today, and I will just look like a flat-out liar if you guys don't check him out. So please show him some love. Also got a fun Twitter. But ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at that schedule as we see that our next match is going to be the winners match. That's going to be Jon Snow versus Masa. That I am crazy excited for. I don't even know who's going to win that. That is a super duper fun and close match. So we'll see you guys there.